Don't start clapping. When there is time to clap, I won't tell you. You will know. University of Nigeria, Nsukka, BA Philosophy. Lagos Business School, Nigeria, Chief Executive Program. He did a mid marketing program at the Harvard Business School, Boston, USA. He also did a Changing the Game program at Harvard Business School, Boston, USA. He also did financial management and business policy at London School of Economics. He also did marketing management at Columbia Business School. I am not begging you to clap. If you want to clap, clap better. Clap better. He did a senior executive program at the Institute for Management Development, Switzerland. If you want to clap, clap better. Clap, 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 clap. He did a breakthrough program for CEOs at the Institute for Management Development, Switzerland. He did an advanced executive program at the College Graduate School of Management, USA. He did a global advanced management program at the College School of Government Management, USA. He did an advanced management and leadership program at the Oxford University, said business school. And he did an advanced leadership program. You can see the connection between leadership and governance that Dr. Linus was talking about. He did an advanced leadership program at the Cambridge University George Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a standing ovation, put your hands together for, I will call him Professor Peter Obi, as he's ushered to the chair.
From what I studied, reading up about you and what's available for public consumption, would note that you are very vast in business, even before you offered yourself for public service. So I would like a combination. I have questions as well that border on both, and how young people can learn.
I was invited by Linus. We wouldn't believe I'm actually meeting him, I would say, for the first time today. You know, just like I was in all the occasions that I go, people just invite me by telephone, and like our leader has said, that this GSM is causing a lot of trouble because they keep emailing you and sending you texts, all sorts of things then come to you, and you said, okay, let's go and see what this person is doing. That's how I went to the platform. That's how I came here today. Kept sending me texts, sending me texts. Say, what are you doing? He said he's going to do this. I said, okay, let me come. But seeing the two chairmen of these great two newspapers here, I must tell you I'm impressed, and I must thank you, both of you, for being here. It's not often that you see people who are successful as you people are coming out on a day like this on what the average Nigerian will regard as wasting time with these coppers. I'm telling you, this is a major and critical problem of our country. How many times did any of you met our leaders while you were in school? Did they come to your school? No. I do a program every month. I visit a school. You know, I must visit a primary school at least once a month. I've done it all my life because I've participated in running. I've been part of running a care program. You would say it's taking me all over the world. I was in Rwanda. I was in the most difficult parts of the world. You know, as a governor, people saw me. I was in Haiti when they had an earthquake for 1 week. My last school trip was in Kogi. just last week. It was a very remote area where you will never believe it's part of Nigeria. And there, as a rundown primary and secondary school, the schools were, I don't know how I can imagine, but when I went there, the first question I asked them is, have you ever seen a governor? Have your governor ever visited? They said, no. How about deputy? No. Commissioner for education? No. How about chairman of local government? No. How about councillor? They say they have never seen anybody from government here. In fact, when they say somebody is coming, they were wondering, you know, and you could see it. It's not there. These are part of our problem. He spoke about Singapore, maybe because of it. But I'm asked to talk about my background. Where do I start? Will I tell you my experience as a student in school? Of course, I went to Nsukka. Everybody knows that I went to Nsukka. The only thing I can tell you that I was born in a trading family. I'm a trader. That's what I do. My father and my mother, my parents are traders. I grew up in a trading house and I learned to trade. That's what I do. As a university student, everybody in Nsukka knows me as a trader. Some of you might be surprised. I was a businessman while I was in the university. I built the Savannah Bank branch in Omo while I was a student. I built where I lived in Nsukka. I used to live with the present Sultan of Sokoto. He was an army captain, so living at Nsukka. I used to live with him. I built my house in Nsukka. All my life I've always believed in trading. I don't believe in any other thing. And when I left school, I went to the market to trade. Until today, if you see my passport, what it says is trader. There's no definition of it. But I tell people now say to me, I'm a banker or this. If I tell you, I got involved in the banking by default. A bank manager requested that my account be closed because I was like trying to get something done and it was wasting my time, and I raised my voice. And he said my account should be closed. So I decided that I would buy the share of that bank every year with my profit. And after 5 years, I became the highest shareholder. But that is not the issue. People ask me, how did you get into politics? I got into politics again by default. And people will say, I've asked people ask me, what do you think you regret most in your life? I said, are you talking about in terms of personal loss? If it is, it's politics. And I'm sure most people will say the same. And I'll tell you, I never voted before I went to contest governor in my state. I was not a member of any political party. I never had anything to do with politics. And that's the only story I want to share with you today. Under the then PDP, and somehow was denied. Everybody believed he won the primary, but he was denied. And then he was moved to become the advisor of the president in Abuja. I wasn't part of their politics, I wasn't part of the party, nothing. And then he went there, started working, then became a minister. In 2001, people saw maybe things, you know, there was a time schools were closed in Anambra State for 1 year. They went to him and said, we want you to go and contest again being governor in Anambra State. In 2003, Professor B.C. once told them that in 2003, he will be 60 years old. That he does not think that the governor of Anambra State will be a man who is 60 years old. That they should go and look for a young man between 40 and 45 who is successful, on his own and can be able to handle and deal with the state the way. And the people that went to meet him gave him a task and said, we want you to give us, this was happening in December. December 2000. They said to him, we want you to give us 3 names and we'll go and approach them. I wasn't part of this conversation. They left. In February, of course, you know, being a bank director, bank chairman, a then Minister of Health invited me for a dinner. For me, it was, hey, I've gotten the account of the ministry. That was all. So I went to Abuja. We had dinner in his house. We spoke for hours about governance and everything. He never mentioned anything to me. We just spoke for hours about governance and everything. And eventually, I got account of one of the pastors within the ministry, which I was very glad that I got and was looking forward to getting the main one. Because that's, for me, that's what I needed, getting the account. I left him. In April, the group went back to him and said, we want you to give us the names so we can go and approach them. He said, I have 2 names. Number 1, Peter Obi. Number 2, Peter Obi. And phoned me and said, some people are coming to see me. And the people came from Abuja, arrived at my office and said, they've come to see me. They want me to go and contest the governor. I said, people don't know what you're talking about. I said, I sit, as at that time, I was the only Nigerian who was technically on board of 3 banks. You're not allowed to sit on board of more than 1 bank. But I was chairman of a bank, a director in Guardian Express, another bank, chairman of Guardian Express Mortgage Bank. I was in about 5 quoted companies. By virtue of my investment, I was virtually living in the UK. I come to Nigeria and spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I go back on Wednesday night to the UK. I come back. So, what is this people talking? They don't know what they're talking about. I said to them, don't go there. Do you know I have not been to my village? By that time, and until today, it's the same case. For those who are from Anambra State here, I don't have a house in my village. By that I said, you people know that I don't have a house in my village. I don't have anything. So where will I start? What am I going to tell the people? In any case, they left me. I went back and told them their experience. I used to go to one on my own. All those things that were read out in my CV. The way I used to spend my holidays is to go to one school and spend a month or 2. In 2001, I was in Kellogg Graduate School in Northwestern University. That was the last year of a man called Professor, the Dean of the Kellogg Graduate School, the man who founded it in 1957, Professor Jacobs. It was his last year. He took us on a course called Global Economy. It's important that I tell you this story. He took us on a course called Global Economy. I was there for 1 month, 6 weeks. But he took us on this course for 1 month. After 3 weeks of talking about global economy, not one day did Dean Jacob talk about Africa. You can imagine me, who paid fee to go to school. Nobody's talking about your place. On a day before the last day of the course, and that was the last day of Dean Jacob lecturing in that school, everybody from Chicago came to listen to Dean Jacob. And I raised my hand. I said, you've not said anything about Africa. And he said, do I want to know about Africa? I said, yes. I paid $40,000 for this course. So what am I learning here? And he said, I will tell you about Africa tomorrow. The next day, he finished and turned to me. You know, we were at Target. I said, Peter, do you want to know about Africa? I said, yes. He said, there's nothing called African economy. You can imagine how depressed I am. He said, nobody plans with Africa. Let me tell you, I founded this school. I've been lecturing here for the past 50-something years. You know, have you ever seen, you can see people say, when they're doing vehicles, American specification, European specification, Japanese specification, Arabs, you know, have I ever heard about African specification? And he gave me examples of other things and turned to me and said, in this country called America, we have 10-year, 20-year, 30-year plan. Do you have such in your country? You know, like you're in this type of environment. What do you think I'll say? I said, yes, we have it. It's okay. I said, yes, I will have about 20-year plan. He said, I know that we don't even have next year plan. But I have to tell him, he said, I want you, that's very good. I want you to join me for lunch. I joined Dean Jacob for lunch. And after lunch, he said, let's take a walk by the banks of Lake Michigan. If you know Kellogg Graduate School, it's on the bank of Lake Michigan. This is the school, this is the lake. So we took a walk. As we were walking, Dean Jacob said to me, do you have any of your country's currency? In 2001, the highest denomination of our currency is 100 naira. So I brought out 100 naira. Dean Jacob brought out $100. He said to me, which of these two currencies do you prefer or want? What do you think I'll say? The dollar. Because then dollar was 100 naira to $1. So sorry, 100 naira to $1. So I said to him, I want the dollar. He said, why? I told him the reason why I want it is because it's 100 naira to $1. So what you have is 10,000 naira and what I have is 100 naira. So he gave me his $100 and took my 100 naira. I started walking again. And after the next, say 100 meters, he turned to me again and said, Peter, why do you prefer, tell me again, why do you prefer the dollar to your currency? I told him the same story. He said, young man, sit down. We've watched you, we've stayed with you. The only reason you prefer another country's currency to your currency is the amount of faith you have in your country. Economy is driven by faith. It is not the rate. He said it's not the rate. You don't have faith in your country. He first proved to me that it costs more to print the naira than to print the dollar, because naira have multiple colors. So it's more in terms of cost of money. And he said to me, the Chinese people want to keep their money in Chinese. Yeah. The Singapore want to keep their money in Singapore dollar. The Malaysians want to keep their money in Malaysian ringgit. Then there was no euro. The Germans want to keep their money in Dutch mark. The British people in pounds. The Italians in real, even when the rate is even worse than your own. Can I ask you for a favor? I said, you can. He said, can you go back to your country and participate in building public wealth? Public wealth enriches everybody. Individual wealth impoverishes everybody. He said, what people do in your country is that they are pursuing individual wealth. They are accumulating individual money. And every other person is poor. I'm a lecturer. I'm retired now. And I drive a Mercedes S-Class. My wife is a lecturer, drives a Lexus. My daughter is a lecturer. So, I will live well. Do lecturers in your country live like that? Of course, in everything I say yes. Yes, yes. Because, there's a sense of feeling. I came back to this country, immediately after that course, I came back to this country. I went to Onitsha to look for the next branch. We had a problem with the branch we had rented from somebody. We had a problem with the landlord. So I went to talk to, I had a meeting with the landlord on a Sunday. On a Monday morning, I was leaving Onitsha, and I saw what I'm sure some of you might not remember. You remember it, but they had something they used to call Bakassi people, killing those who are. On a Monday morning, I was passing through, going back to Lagos by road, because I used to travel by road. And I turned to my wife and said, I'm going to contest the election to be governor. Whatever brought us this low, people have to fight it. You can imagine my wife. We've never done this before. We've never talked about this before. He said, Peter, what is wrong? I said, listen, there's nothing wrong. Everybody invited me. Peter, you're already at 40. You're chairman of a bank. You own shares there. You're this and that. I said, well, the way this thing is going, I don't think I'll get to 50 before it will collapse. So let's first rescue it from collapsing, and everything. And that's why, like I said, you will have to take back your country.
Wow. Thank you.
It's critical. You see, that's how I packed my suitcase. I went to my village. Can you imagine? After that, this happened about September, October. By December 2001, I packed everything without having a home in my village. My mother built a house with 6 boys. Even though one is a priest, but he made sure that everybody had his own flat, 2-bedroom flat. So he built 6 flats. So I went to my own to live. I packed my things. I said, I'm going back to my village. As I stayed there for 2 years in the village, campaigning, going around, no patio, nothing. Yeah, you people might not know. I said, I didn't have any party. I was just going around and preaching to people and saying, we must change this, we must do this. So that's how I started. Eventually, people believed in what I was saying. And then they started this new party called AMGA. I joined it. Even those that met along the line, everybody believed in what I was saying. Believed I was saying, even our leader then, Chukwu, would say, listen, are you sure this line is real? Because everybody believes in what the church, everybody joined in and all that. And I got elected. And they announced somebody else's name. I went to court. And everybody keep telling me, hey, wait a minute. Nobody have ever became governor through the court in this country. I was in court for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It was in the 3rd year. Even my lawyers, everybody was the time said, why don't you? I said, I must be here. And every money I earned, I was paying senior advocates. And my wife was like, what is happening, Peter? You have ended this thing. Why don't we just... I said, no, me and these people will see the end of this thing. If we don't see the end. And that's how I stayed. After 3rd year, of course, I became the court. Now when I hear people give money, court, give this, I know. No judge. Let me tell you, the female judge that gave my judgment, the best judgment of my case at the appeal court, she's now a judge of Supreme Court. I never met her. I met her only about a year ago for the first, towards the end of my governor, and I went to her and said, thank you very much because I couldn't have imagined going to a judge and say, give me judgment. So what I was doing then is making sure evidence, we are calling witness after witness. We called over 300 witnesses to prove that this man did not win. That time, people came to me with all sorts of things. You can imagine the frustration of being in court for 3 years. People come to you and said, hey, wait a minute. Even I went to a church where a bishop said to me, well, we voted for you, but being an act of God, God gave it to somebody else. I said, well, listen. I said, Bishop, so many people who stole people's motto or things, it was act of God. But we had to chase them and catch them and put them in prison. Not an act of God. You know, but I was there. Of course, my story, I'll just end it before I will start, is that I just want to tell you this background. I became a governor, and as you know, 6 months I was impeached. I was removed from office twice. You know, people don't know that. And of course, you heard me talk about why I was impeached in the platform. People didn't know. What do I tell people to end it? When people tell me, why were you impeached, Peter? Why were you, what was all this quarrel with people and everything? I said, well, I was a driver who was carrying passengers who have since passed their destination, because they want us to do it the same way we used to do it. And I refused. So they decided to push me out and go back to where they are. And I struggled and got the car back and decided I must drag them to the destination yelling and crying. And that's what I did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.